and welcome back to another day in the arena. It's me, it's CGB, and today in the arena we're playing Kinnan in Historic Brawl. Many people would answer the question of what is the best deck in Historic Brawl with Kinnan. I'm going to kind of adjust the question. I would say, what is the deck that is, on one hand, the most scary, and two, just the most kind of like easy-ish to pilot? Like, it has the highest ceiling, the best potential of drawing perfect, so that you just literally can't do anything and you lose the game before it even really happens. To me, that deck is Kinnan. How would I describe Kinnan? Kinnan is, okay, we all know that person, and I'm going to dunk on this person because I was this person, so I think it's fair game for older, wiser CGB to take a few shots at younger Daniel Wagner, because I was that person. I would show up to my local tournaments playing the busted deck that I read about online. I would play it. I would draw pretty well. I would beat everybody there, including a bunch of adults, and I was just this twerpy little teenager. And I'd be able to get all cocky because it's like, whoa, magic is easy. I don't know why all these people aren't good. All they had to do was play this best busted deck, and they would win too. And then you spend, you know, the next like 10 years of your life learning how lucky you really had it, and how lucky you got in those tournaments, and wondering why you don't win all the time and thinking it's bad luck, and then having to get perspective. And anyway, that's my autobiography, and that is who I picture every day when I go up against Kinnan. Look at this twerp. When you go up against this person in the queue and they're just like, all right, play a ramp creature, play a ramp creature, play Kinnan, you try to kill it, I counter it, I spin my wheel, I hit Vorinclex, I win. I just picture young me, just cocky as hell at the table. That's what Kinnan Bonder Prodigy embodies. The highest possible, screw you, the shuffler loves me more than you ceiling. And that's what makes Kinnan a tilting deck to play against, but a very, very kind of easy deck to play. You can pick up a lot of your dailies quickly with Kinnan because opponents just don't want to play against it. Maybe you counter one spell, or you hit the wheel one time and they just quit. I don't blame them, I get it. Anyway, if you're going to play Kinnan, your curve should look something like this. It's like the Spock live long and prosper sign. Lots of ones and twos and lots of big creatures and not much in the middle. Anyway, the numbers don't really matter. What matters is how well we hit when we spin that wheel. Let's dive in. Let the cocky little Kinnan Bonder Prodigy nonsense begin. Oh, and you're cool. We're on the draw. We're up against Halana and Elena, a very fast and aggressive deck, but for the most part, they won't stop us from doing our thing, and our thing might be playing giant monsters very quickly. Long Tusk Stalker is a weird one. When it attacks or enters the battlefield, you get energy. Pay 2. Perpetual +1/+0. And choose a creature, and that gets +1/+0. This card looks really good. I've never seen this card before. Snuck an energy card into this. Okay. Yeah, that seems really good for an aggressive deck, a creature deck. I need this for my Halana. Hold on, let me write this down. Long Tusk Stalker. Call back to Long Tusk Cub. Really popular energy card from back in the day. Nope, that's a bad block. All right, gotta read the cards a few times. And this is one of the things about Alchemy plus Historic Brawl is sometimes just weird stuff, man. Really weird stuff. It just shows up and like, I don't know what that does. Where did this come from? Pact of Negation's a good draw. If we play Kinnan here, we can use the Gilded Goose to play a Sanctum Weaver. If we do that, then we don't have any mana open, and a removal spell on Kinnan could just be GG's. So I think we just take this turn to develop another mana dork, and then next turn, we're probably looking at Celestis into Kinnan, protected into Wheel Spinning or Nezahal, which should be good enough to compete. All right, they're just playing all the hits as far as creatures go, but this doesn't have the perpetual increase, so something else in their hand probably has haste and has that perpetual increase, and it's just waiting to come destroy us. All right, we'll see if the opponent wants to try to kill Kinnan here. If they run any spells or if they're just, here come my creatures. Make you beat it. Stalker up to a 3/1. Something else in the hand is getting pumped. Next turn, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana. Let's spin the wheel plus Spell Pierce, or eat food, or make food. No, because we have to use the goose with this food, so that part doesn't matter much. And they've got a goblin. It's a 4/2 Riety Goblin. All right, the aggressive creatures are definitely here, but Halana and Elena isn't here yet. And Sludge Monster, we could start slime countering the creatures. That's pretty nasty. We don't have enough mana, though, to spin the wheel and do that, so it's kind of a one or the other. But I think we just want to use our big mana here to play big creatures. Because I think what's going to happen next turn is we're going to have to pay for Pact of Negation, which is going to leave us with not that much. So I guess we'll slime here. It's that or the 7/7. The 7/7's pretty good, and then we end up pacting. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 potential mana next turn for a Sludge Monster. Okay. 7/7. Better than spinning the wheel and maybe whiffing. Time to battle your puny little red-green creatures with big, strong dinosaur. That might draw cards if they ever cast something that's not a creature. They're probably thinking Halana and Elena put counters on Zerta Goblin. That's what I'd be thinking. If you're going to get promoted into Hell Queue, I don't think Halana and Elena is the greatest commander for Gruul. I would recommend Domri because it makes things uncounterable, which is huge in Hell Queue, as most of your opponents will be blue. And as you see, countering Halana and Elena is a bit of a blowout for a 4-mana commander. So yeah, I would play a lot of the same Gruul cards, including Halana and Elena, but I think Domri, Anarch of Bolas, the 3-mana Domri, is the right commander. Our opening hand has Leyline of Abundance, which is pretty epic, and we have Shaper's Sanctuary into Ornithopter with a Pact of Negation on backup, so we'll keep it. We're up against a pretty actually tough commander that you don't see all that often in Kaito Shizuki, and some people just can't handle the turn 0 plays. I mean, that and the Shaper's Sanctuary means if they target our Ornithopter, we just draw a bunch of cards. So yeah, they're in a lot of trouble. Kaito's a really good kind of tempo deck, though, and might be something we need to do in the future. Some people play Grozilex. Whenever a blue creature hits you, you draw a card. But Kaito is kind of that with another color, and you get to play the 2 best colors in the game. So it's borderline Hell Queue. It is too bad that you don't see it often. It's too bad that at the time we see it, we made him scoop and just ran him right out of the barn with our turn 1. Just when I say you don't see Kaito often, we get a rematch with the commander at least, and we have Leyline in our opener again. If this is the same person, that would be funny, because they'd be like, WTF. And then they would angry post on Reddit about CGB is a hacker. I'm going to go ahead and get the Mox Amber onto the field. Opponent might have a null or something of that nature, and we don't have any other artifacts or enchantments for them to worry about right this moment. Dark Ritual. Oh, baby. Dark Ritual what? Kaito is here. Pacting it, not good. But this does mean they're tapped out on our turn, which means we can play Kinnan and have negate support. Pilfering Imp. Sacrifice it, reveal hand. Ooh. So there's a lot of Gix to Kaito, but Kaito might be a little better. It doesn't draw as many cards, but it plays a lot of similar effects. If we play this, do we have protection? We can negate, but we really do need to get our mana creatures like active. So we might need to pact here. If we packed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we'd have 1 mana on the following turn, which would not be wonderful. We can also block the imp if that matters. Let's see what happens. But yeah, we need our mana creatures active to make the most out of Leyline, which gets, whenever we tap a creature for mana, happy things. All right, that's got to go. Now if the opponent kills our Ornithopter, they win. Let's see if they can do it. I'll even play it risky.
There's no secret I can't uncover.
So this is tapping for 3. This is tapping for 2. This gets a bonus from Kinnan and from the Leyline, which is pretty cool. Now we could play out Incubation Druid, but we lose negate protection. And I'm not taking that shield down.
Would have had me.
If we untap with all the mana, we should be in a great position. Opponent could use the imp though to get past the negate, but they don't. They want the card from Kaito. That's one of the problems with the imp's ability. You have to tap the imp. Oh wait, are we ninja gaming? Swarm Saboteur? Our opponent actually with some ninja theme to it. So Virus Beetle, eh. Unfortunately, I think this card is a little bit of a scam. I don't think it's very good.
I'll be taking that now.
It's pretty good against the Mammoth though because of the Death Touch. I will grant that. Let's see if the opponent taps out here. Obviously, they're going through some lines in their head. And they're going to go for Kinnan's Throat. We are not allowing it. Land off the top. Let's see what we hit. Yep. A little bit of haste can go a long way for killing Kaito. One of the reasons you might want to spin on your main phase if the opponent's tapped out. They might have a Wrath here. I'm going to hold back the Incubation Druid. A board wipe, like an Extinction Event on even, is very close to completely devastating. So it's important not to get too cocky when you're ahead. Brawl's expertise is okay. Opponent playing the Beetle game. We'll see if they can drown us in beetles. Play you. Play you. Hold this to discard to the Beetle. See what happens next. How much removal do they have? I might just trade this. Like, nah. Let them have more beetles. If they empty my hand, I can always spin the wheel. And beetles do cost mana. If they're using their mana on that, it's going to hurt them eventually. Drown in the lock on the Incubation Druid. Ignoring the Kinnan. Well, that's a good draw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We can also spin Kinnan's wheel. They held mana open for something. So I think this is a good wheel spin. And this time we'll pass turn. Use it at instant speed since they have mana up. Yay, Llanowar Elves. Obviously the beetles are clogging their hand a bit. They're not playing them. Okay, here comes one. Don't need the Mammoth here. Turn Timber Symbiosis. I think this would get countered. Let's play the Sanctuary. That's a really good card. You know they don't want that to resolve, but they let it. And then let's hold up Kinnan activation. It's kind of cracked that Kinnan doesn't need a hand to be good. You just need enough mana to keep spinning the wheel. Uh-huh. You keep doing it. Nice. But more mana. Eventually that's more spins. And these are each tapping for 3. I mean, look at all their beetles. Go ahead, play them. We're at 13 mana, so 1 more mana is 2 spins. They rebuke me. Great. What a fun game. All right, Sanctuary, Amber, Kinnan, Elf, Elf. Spell Pierce is open. We'll see if it matters. They're almost a recasting Kaito. Spell Pierce would have been really handy last turn. Doo-doo. The Saboteur heard what I said about it. It's trying to solo me. Of course, that doesn't matter too much. Like, go ahead. Do your thing. And they're still leaving up this blue mana, probably to counter the Endray's Forerunners, but we have a Spell Pierce, so I think this is a good time to play it. If we go... Yeah, this breaks even. This is actually +1 on mana. Feel the stick on the stack. And then it's like this. I guess I don't want to attack with the Kinnan. Don't really want to attack with the other creatures either. I just want to have a big creature on the board and have my hand emptied. Okay, so when I use the Kinnan for mana, let me see. Whenever you tap a permanent. Okay, so I was tapping it to pay the cost. I wasn't tapping the permanent specifically. Interesting. All right, and it still needs me to tap one of my elves. That's fine. They've been waiting for this. And they got Spell Pierced. Just the Forerunners. I need my mana creatures. Now I have no hand, so all their beetles are 2 mana 1/1s. And there's a 7/7 that they have to worry about. And if they remove it, I draw. In theory. Unless they have another reset the board effect. Okay then, that's probably a board wipe. This has Menace, and they can pump things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Hyper aggro, but they're at 11. They're almost dead. And they tapped out. So let's see if we spin the wheel into something that can end the game. Oh my god. I am not good at wheel spinning today. It's been pretty bad. Ha! I lose. Well, I've established that I am the worst Magic player in the game at spinning my Kinnan wheel. Unbelievable. So if I don't block with my Elvish Mystic, then we win that game on the counterattack. I also threw, but my god, I am the worst Kinnan wheel spinner ever. This hand is the wrong side of the deck. It's nice to know they're in there, though, after some of these games. I was starting to question their existence. We'll keep this because we have Sentinel and the Kinnan protected. Unless they counter the Kinnan, which they are Asika. A lot of the Asika builds you'll run into in Hell Q have adapted to run a very heavy control package. Yep. If our Sentinel dies, we're in a lot of trouble, but our opponent is a Temple gamer. Really valuing those scries. Moonsnare prototype. Good one. Here's Kinnan. And hold up protection. Unfortunately for us, both the prototype and the sentinel require us to tap something to make the mana. So that could be a problem. We need something else to tap. We could also just use this for the channel ability. Yeah, let's just say go. We're close to casting Kogla. So right now we have 5 mana. These combining for 2, 3, 4, 5. So we could channel the prototype. Which, you know, then they don't get their bridge. Okay, they're passing the turn. If we go for the channel activation with all that open mana, they'll probably kill Kinnan. So let's just wait. Be patient. If they try to activate the incubation druid, that will be a good opportunity to get rid of it. But if we go for Kogla here, they might also kill one of our Kinnans or counter the Kogla. Here's the activation. And here's the channel. Bubble, 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 bubble. All right. So they don't get that big mana advantage. There used to be a sound bug back in the day where the bubble bubble would just keep bubbling for the rest of the game. They're casting Asika on the mana side. That's a good sign for us because they missed their land drop. Now we have enough mana to play the Kogla and have protection. And Kogla can definitely take over this game. It is a killer. Also, can protect Kinnan if we get 2 mana open by returning Kinnan to hand to make Kogla indestructible. Here comes Asika again. That's definitely not great for the opponent, as we're getting close to just leveling, but I think I'll go ahead and play out more mana for the future. And send the monkey. We'll see if the opponent is slow rolling like some kind of a wrath effect, although you wouldn't want to do that with Asika. Be a heck of a time for a farewell. Brainstorm. It better be a productive brainstorming session. Far too many meetings that go nowhere. I always think of the card Brainstorm. Wrath of God, yeah, okay. So, this we're going to make indestructible, and we're going to return Kinnan to hand. Now, we also need to save one of our mana producers. I choose Paradise Druid. You're the one who gets to live. Because with no mana producers, Kinnan is sad Kinnan. We don't want sad Kinnan. Opponent scoops it up. Their board wipe was not as effective as they hoped. Back to the brainstorming session. We are on the draw. We've got protection for Kinnan, and we've got the Stalwart. Then we have 2 big monsters we can't cast, but if we draw another mana creature, we can. I think that this is a keep. Our opponent is Teferi. They don't plan to let us do anything cool, and they're on the play, so they should be pretty dominant against us, to be honest. Like, everything favors like Nicole Bolas and Teferi when they're on the play, because they usually have enough removal and interaction to keep the good things from happening. Anyway, our opponent is chatty. I hate that. I would prefer they shut up and get wrecked. Opt. Yep. Lada. Oh, look at me. Adjusting my deck. They saw the stifle, which means they're probably going to play around it reasonably well. Oh, you better crack that passage now. There it is. There it is. All right. If we go for the Kinnan and they have the wash away, I'm probably just out. Nissa could be exciting. Nope. And they brainstorm. Yep. Oh my god, the fidget. 100% mono fidget out of Teferi so far. I can lament it because I know that I also enjoy it. Yeah, bird. See? Freaking cheater. Yeah, we'll put you in command. So we draw forest. Doesn't do much. Can't make mana with the stalwart now. I guess I'll take this draw from the clue. And we have an ornithopter. Would have been nice to have it off the top. And we have a miscast, so we can try to protect Kinnan once we have enough mana. Weird that they don't even attack with their bird, but I guess they don't want to have a win con in their Teferi deck. Alright, so they're going to make a 2/2, that's fine. Then I could stifle this draw. If I do that, then they get to play Teferi and plus, but I guess that's fine. Yeah, trade it for a card. They're going to play around it anyway. Oh, now they're aggressive. What a pathetic Teferi player. And they missed the land drop, so that's ideal. We get a Drover. We can probably resolve the Kinnan, but maybe it's a lot better to resolve the Nissa. Of course, resolving the Nissa, we don't have the mana, so we should go for the Kinnan first. Nissa is in the deck because it can often be a one-card bridge from the mid-game to the late game where we want to cast our giant monsters. And it's a good backup to Kinnan when the opponent actually does try to stall Kinnan out. Alright, if they have a Wrath, we get punished here, but I think we're going to go for this anyway because we do need to have enough mana to put the pressure on them. And if we top a land, we can slam a Nissa, which could be huge. They're attacking, so they're going to Wrath. And we top a land. Wonderful.
We will not fail.
Time to send a message. We will not go quietly into the night. It's kind of old school Teferi versus Nissa, to be honest. I promised that was a card they did not expect. They're going to bounce the Nissa. Okay, they have a counterspell. Their last card might be a counterspell. Maybe that is a good reason to go for a Kinnan. If they counter the Kinnan, we get the Kinnan card advantage. Which is, you know, they countered our commander. Brazen Borrower doesn't matter too much. And now we know they're getting a little closer to desperate because they played Teferi.
Hide from the world any longer.
And they are going to draw.
Let's skip to the good part.
One of the cards is a land. They'll have 4 mana for the next turn cycle. We almost have enough to spin the Kinnan wheel. We just need a land. We don't get it though. Let's try attacking the opponent. Resolves. So they probably do have a counterspell.
Hardly my worst defeat.
So I'm going to try stealing the Borrower. That works. Okay. It's probably a negate. Here's a Narset.
If you wish to surrender now,
They're looking for a Wrath.
open mind.
But if they Wrath, we're going to play Nissa. They get Absorb. So I think their hand is Absorb and Negate type card. We still don't have enough to spin the Kinnan wheel. But we can power up the layer. One turn, opponent.
Mind needs a rest.
I don't have to put anything on the stack to kill you. You have to solve the equation. Nice. That game completely changed because we had an awesome 5-mana threat in Nissa Who Shakes the World, who could take over the game on her own. It completely warped the way that the middle of that game went, and we weren't completely dead after the Wrath. Our opponent's playing Golos. We have Stalwart with Leyline. We can play Kinnan and then protect the Kinnan with a slip out the back. Meteor Golem shouldn't be too far behind. I'm still not absolutely sure that Leyline shouldn't just be another mana creature, to be honest. And look, it ruined my Once Upon a Time. Leyline is definitely the flashy play. It's very exciting. It's intimidating for sure. I've had plenty of opponents scoop to it, so it has a little bit of that free win, get your dailies done equity. But as far as what's right for the deck, I'm not positive. I'm not 100%. So the opponent has open mana. This could be a counter spell. I think I'll just develop my mana more and get the Once Upon a Time cast. If we're patient, we might be able to come up with a counter spell to protect Kinnan as well, but it looks like the opponent has some ramp here from Roiling Regrowth. This taps for 2, this taps for 2. We should have enough to cast a Meteor Golem after the opponent plays Golos. But they're not playing Golos because they're worried about counter magic, and welcome to the cat and mouse of Hellq. Just a reminder, the Stalwart can tap an untapped artifact. That makes it a little different from Jaspera Sentinel. Oh, we have to reveal the Ambusher. I don't like that, but the Ambusher might be a really good threat in a draw-go situation. Let's test them with Kinnan, because I can still play Ambusher, right? I can tap the food for mana, then sack the food to Goose. Oh, Kinnan resolves. That's going to be a problem for them. And here is Golos. So there might be some wheels to spin if they can protect Golos from the Meteor Golem. They have 1 mana to do it. So I could play the Ambusher, but Ambusher, I guess we want to put pressure on the opponent even if we're not going to use the Ambusher that way. It doesn't even cost us a food. But I am going to cast a spell this turn in the Meteor Golem to try to keep the Golos wheel from spinning. Brawl! Smash! Meteor Golem, just good value. 7 mana Ravenous Chupacabra-ish effect. Casually amazing. We are very committed to the board, though. Let's see if the opponent can punish it. A farewell would be a good move. Chandra the Awakened Inferno is also a pretty good move.
Ever see a volcano erupt in person?
And that's gonna really hurt. So, do we save Kinnan? If we save Kinnan, there's no mana creatures. We're definitely saving something. So, might be better to save the Meteor Golem, but Because Kinnan, at least we can recast, and it's not like we get too much benefit from it. They have a counter? A swan song? That's actually brutal because they also sweep away the...
Everyone knows the bigger explosions are
Sweep
more
away the
fun.
bird. But we do keep the ambusher. Ooh, Nissa. Unfortunately, we have to develop our mana and probably just replay our commander. So no free wolf for us.
I kind of crashed and burned here.
Should have plenty of green once Nissa hits the field. And Golos is back, which can block ambusher, which I'm sure they're excited about. Forest off the top. Awesome.
Witness the ties that bind us all.
I don't have blue mana for Kinnan. That was a mistake. I need to leave a blue open and untap a forest, which I could tap for 3 green. So I goofed. I guess it still works, right?
Be wary of ground water.
And the opponent gets a Golos wheel. Let's see if it's a good one. Our board is imposing. Zakama. Seems good. Time Warp. Yeah, you got it. And I think the exiled card... Oh, it's a Saw It Coming. Okay, I thought it would be an Alrund's Epiphany too. Still, scoopable. Zakama. Let's go. Golos, and we have a lot of mana producers. We'll keep it, but we're super vulnerable to a Wrath because our hand only does one thing, which is ramp into a Kinnan activation. I guess we're also super vulnerable to Kinnan's activations going poorly for us. But this is the deck. This is what you sign up to do, and I haven't had a hand like this once today, so now's as good a time as any to try it. Golos is definitely a deck that can play a good amount of Wraths. The question is, will they have the mana to cast it? And will they actually be running that many Wraths in Hell Queue where a lot of decks run a million counter spells and not a million creatures? Of course, Kinnan is so popular, some people can just focus their deck on beating Kinnan. Golos Shrines. I'm sorry, opponent. I'm sorry. You shouldn't have to deal with this. I really want to play the Lair here. I guess we can develop our mana more instead of playing Kinnan, and it's fine. Golos Shrines shouldn't have to play Hell Queue. It's not fair. It's still a very good deck, but it gets paired against Kinnan and such so much. We've drawn protection. Everything is wonderful. Could definitely play another creature here, but let's hold up the negate. Although our opponent's very likely to play Golos. But I think holding up negate is right. Because next turn we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana at least. So it's wheel time. And the opponent plays Solemn. Yeah. They're running a Hell Queue commander without a Hell Queue deck. Feels bad. This is... If you watch my Golos intro, this is what I mean about Golos shouldn't be in Hell Queue. It should swap with Rusko because decks like this are fun and they should be able to play in lower queue. But we'll see. Maybe the opponent can be the hero that everybody wants. Taxidermy! Still have Kinnan wheel open past turn. Oh, Golos, do you want to come out and play? Let's see if they survive the counter spell. They left it in the graveyard. I mean, that could be strategic. I've also done that a time or two as a sign of just screw this. Well, we whiffed. So there is that. I still have the best luck in the game when it comes to Kinnan wheels. I'm going to hold back the sliver because wrathing is definitely on the table now. I could spin now and try to hit Crater Hoof or Forerunners. And I'll still have the mana for negate, so let's do it. Hullbreaker Horror. That's fine. That's just fine. If you think I should not play around a Wrath because I have a negate, I would stress that Supreme Verdict cannot be countered. And it is a card that these decks can play, and often do. We take the hit from the Solemn because when it dies it draws a card. They might need a card here just to solve issues. There's Farewell. Alright, here's negate. And I will return your Replicator Ring to your hand. GG's. All right, we go first. Our opponent is Emry, Lurker in the lock. So I think that means we don't have to turn one Sanctuary, but we can turn one Drum, which sets up Kinnan to make more mana the turn that we play it. And then we want to play Sanctuary around when we play Kinnan, because they will try to legitimate business Kinnan and things of that nature. We've got to be ready for that. Dream Eater. We haven't seen that card yet. It's an expensive card, but it does some bouncy fun things. It can only bounce things the opponent controls, though, so it can't save Kinnan from legitimate business status. All right, our opponent has milled many mana rocks, and they're clearly on full mana rock Emry, full paradox combo. Not really the control variant, I bet. So time to get Kinnan down. And then we have 5 mana, not 6, so pass. And we'll see if Kinnan can survive the turn. Tormod's Crypt. Probably just drew it, or they would have used it earlier. They're going to get a Manalith. So they're really close here to a Paradox Engine finish if they have the card. It's 1 in 100, but it's what the deck is designed to do. Warzone Duplicator. We could make our own Emry. We can spin the wheel. We can play Titan. Titan can blow up the Manalith, which can take them off of that potential win. So let's go for it. And it resolves. Trying to figure out if they destroy this in response. I don't get the Rhino, but still think we go for it, because we were using an ability with only a single target. Not sure how they would destroy it in response either. Save it, bounce it, something like that. Okay, they've got the Drum. They need another creature in order to go off with Paradox, because they have to tap the Emry to keep getting back an artifact. Portal off the top isn't great, but now we have options like Hullbreaker Horror, Dream Eater. Okay, bye. I think the line for that turn is to hold up the Dream Eater. Paradox is probably the only way we lose. So if they put Paradox on the battlefield and we bounce it to their hand with the Dream Eater, that's probably a win. Otherwise, play Hullbreaker Horror, and they're probably just dead from the attack. Go first, and yeah, we've got the bridge card of Nissa. We've got 2 of our mana creatures, and we're against Sythis. So with the Sythis, it's all about, can you turn Kinnan into a creature with no abilities? If you can do that, you'll probably have a good game. Now we have Titan, which is great against Sythis because it can remove that that annoying enchantment or aura from Kinnan. The opponent's setting up mana before they play the Harvest Hand. They have 4 mana here. They could run board wipes. Ooh. Because it's really tempting here to just play 2 mana creatures and not expose Kinnan. But, so I think what I want to do is I want to play 1 mana creature. And then I also want to save 1 mana creature. If they remove Kinnan here, we can play Nissa. All right, Sythis on the field. Sythis does sound like a nasty disease you catch from hanging out with green-white players. All right, Weaver. So some power toughness on the field. That's good for us. Let's try this Brainstorm. And we'll put the Titan on top because guess what? We want to wheel it with Kinnan. I think I also want to wheel on Upkeep. And I want to get rid of this portal because I don't really want to draw this portal. I want a shot at drawing something else. So Upkeep Wheel. Really good combo with Brainstorm because we know we're going to hit. Oh, Kogla? Is that even better? Because Kogla on attack keeps blowing up enchantments, right? Artifact or enchantment. Now I regret putting the Titan there. I just want to make sure I hit. I mean, Kogla is like that, but plus. All right, kill Sythis. And draw. I was hoping for an untapped land, but I'll definitely take a pact. If we packed this turn and start attacking with Kogla, they are so dead. Or they're just dead. That's fine too.